And here with me now, it's his first interview since leaving ICE 2 weeks ago, former ICE Acting Director P.J. Lechleitner. P.J., thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having
me. Because, you know, you have ground truth on all of this. First of all, how unusual is this? They've stepped it up, and this was a campaign promise. And secondly, I was going to ask you, how can the budget handle this? This is expensive.
It is. I mean, it's resource. There's resource cost to this, and they're going to have to get some resources on this. But the administration seems to be very focused on this. From the policy from the previous administration to this current administration, they've changed and refocused the priorities and the policies. And this is all in accordance with the INA. I mean, it's in accordance with law. They can choose to be more aggressive, more muscular with their enforcement activities. It's nice to see the people of ICE getting the support they need to do the work that they're being asked to do. It's nice to see the administration really doing an interagency support network for that, because it's just too much for ICE to do on its own, and have DOJ collaborate with that. It's really good to see that federal collaboration and work. And these are, targeted operations, and you've heard before the officials say it's, the borders are Tom Homan. These are being prioritized, public safety, national security. However, if they find other individuals that are collateral arrests that are here, undocumented illegally, then they'll pick them up as well when they're doing it. But what I'm seeing here is something that has been done all the time. There's a little more press on this. They're doing a lot of it, and they're rolling it out. And as the administration promised, they're doing it.
Well, let me ask you about something that Tom Homan. Let me play first what Tom Homan also said to Gabe Gutierrez, where he's criticizing city policies that stop ICE from doing these operations.
Okay.
If the politicians, the mayor and the governor would just simply work with us and let us in that jail, to arrest a bad guy in jail is safer for the officer, is safer for the alien, is safer for the community. I don't get it.
Was this something you experienced?
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree with Tom more on this. It's so much safer if we can just cooperate with them. I've always been on the record saying we should have no air gap between federal law enforcement and state and local law enforcement. It is safer for the community if we can just do a handoff with them, and respecting, their needs as well. But it's when they release people and don't tell us what occurred, in my experience, all of a sudden these individuals are very difficult to identify. They're in the community. Now we have to get a fugitive operations team together and go out and try and find them. And any law enforcement mission that's in the community like that can be dangerous. And it's better if we can just do it when we know that they're safe, they're unarmed, there's no issues in a jail facility. I couldn't agree more with that.
Was this a crisis? Because the numbers had been coming down. They were at sort of record lows compared to the past, and certainly the highs in the beginning of the administration, the Biden administration. So was there the need for this kind of a major crackdown?
Well, the administration ran on this and they won, and that's their policy. And I don't, policies change. I'm an operator, I'm a law enforcement official. We're going to go carry it out. I will say that the numbers were very high. I wish they had gone in and done some work, earlier. I went on record to get those tweaks so that it would have gone down. It was high for a long, long time. And the non-detained docket, those individuals we know of, was well over 8 million people out there. And it was overwhelming the capabilities of ICE to do. So it's nice to see us taking this seriously and going at it. But I want to say it's in accordance with the law, and the policies changed because the administration changed.
What about this focus on the urban areas? There are also undocumented, unauthorized people in the rural areas. They're critical to the farm operations. Mm-hmm. That's what the ag community has been complaining. They don't seem to be doing this in rural areas. Is it to do it in urban areas for show?
I think they have to rack and stack these operations, because you only have so many assets, even though we have DOJ collaborating much more, and you have the Defense Department with the removal flights you've seen. There's only so much, and we don't have, millions of federal agents running around. We have to decide where it's best in targeted operations to go at it, and the cities and urban areas are a logical choice to start. But you're going to see this move out, and you're going to see different areas be targeted as well.
Let me ask you about your own situation. You're a law enforcement officer.
I used to be. I'm retired.
Were you planning to retire, or did you have to? Were you civil service? What was your category?
No, I was eligible for a couple of years, and I agreed under the Biden administration with the secretary to stay as the acting, because we did not have a confirmed director. But I had been trying to retire for a little while, and it was time for me to go at the end of the year.
So you were not being pushed out, or?
Absolutely not. No, I know Tom and I know Caleb, who took over for ICE, and I was confident that they know the agencies, they know the mission, and it was my goal to transition whoever was going to come in. But policies change. People can disagree on the policies and how, muscular or enforcement-minded people want to be versus not. However, I was confident that Men and William of ICE and DHS at large, generally, were going to be taken care of by the new people coming in.
Do you think that they can keep doing this? Do they have the money to do this at this rate?
Well, it's going to require a lot of resources. So as mentioned before, we're funded currently, unless it hasn't changed so far, 41,500 beds. And they're asking for a lot more than that, which, if it's 80,000, basically it's double. It's 120,000, it's triple my napkin math. But it's going to require a lot of money to keep this up and sustain it. And that's where Congress comes in. So Congress is going to have to get this through appropriations because we got to find that money from somewhere.
And how do you feel about the hospitals, the schools, the churches, which had been off limits before as sanctuaries?
Yeah, the policy of the previous administration, Biden administration, was that they had sensitive locations, and they did not want us conducting operations there. New administration comes in and changes that policy and has, removed those restrictions. I don't think you're going to be seeing a lot of, target operations, though, in churches or places of worship or schools or whatever, unless there's a real operational and public safety, national security need to do so.
It's completely discretionary, and it has caused fear in the community.
It may be causing some angst, but it is discretionary, and it is something that is possible given whatever operational need that's out there. But it's not something that was not possible before. It was just a policy decision.